The ills of social media are going to court. Hello, I'm Adrian Batra. With me are Brian Lilly and Warren Kinsella. Warren, this story is because the biggest school divisions and districts in the province of Ontario has decided to take Meta, ByteDance, who owns TikTok, and Snapchat to court to basically say you have disrupted children's lives by the manner in which you've made your social media so addictive. So that's the top line in all of this. Does this case have a chance? It will be costly, but are they onto something here?
Well, I think all of us are parents. The three of us are all parents. We all know, our kids are like this, a lot of the time. I mean, hell, in Toronto, when I'm in Toronto, I bump into people walking down the street with their nose in their devices. So yeah, it's changed society. It's changed the way we live. It's changed the news business. It's changed politics. It's changed everything. So it's ridiculous to suggest they haven't. How do you prove that? Because essentially
Mhm.
what the school boards are arguing here is these platforms have rewired the way children think and how they learn and how they pay attention and so on. And that it's caused the damage, it's caused a mental health crisis, it's caused an educational crisis. Again, I don't think a lot of people would dispute that. TikTok and Instagram, Instagram has been shown to have an impact on the self-image of girls, young girls. TikTok obviously is a platform for anti-Semitism and prejudice and all kinds of horrible stuff. We all know that. The challenge is how do you draw the connection between that harm and the stuff we're all
Mhm.
seeing and proving it actually has rewired the brains of our kids? That's going to be a tough one. And these platforms, they're going to fight it like nobody's business. They're going to
Mhm.
hire all the best lawyers and drag this through the courts as long as they possibly can.
Brian, the US is way ahead of Canada when it comes to actually delving into these issues. The federal government of the United States, for example, has banned all employees with federal phone to have any of these platforms, particularly TikTok, on their devices. Even though all the political campaigns use TikTok to
Yeah.
get their message out, no irony there. But nonetheless, they've said, ByteDance, which owns TikTok, and their parent founders are the Communist Party of China. Get yourself out extricated from them, and then perhaps maybe TikTok can operate and function. But it's beyond that. State of Florida, Governor DeSantis has just passed legislation banning 14 and under from having social media. A laudable goal, but an impossible feat because, again, how do you prove it?
Well, this is what the school boards are doing and what DeSantis did earlier this week. Uh, it's essentially trying to deal with the same problem, and that
Mhm.
is the impact of social media. And obviously, teachers and parents, they want something done about it. But what do you do? Um, so DeSantis says, well, you won't be allowed to have a social media account under the age of 14. 15 and 16-year-olds will have to have parental consent for that. Um, that will be very difficult to enforce, just like this lawsuit will be very difficult to win. But clearly, people feel that something needs to be done. You know, the back in when my kids were young, what did we have for allowing them on the computer? Oh, put Net Nanny on. That was a somewhat usable software program that could protect your kids from accessing certain things or being exposed to certain things when they didn't mean to go looking for it. That can't really happen on a smartphone, but there are different controls within the smartphone that you can embrace from both Google and from Apple to set limits on things. And I think that both the kids and the parents involved need to start embracing those. And I think the
Mhm.
smartphone manufacturers, the people making the iOS, they need to bring out more of them. Controls so that, just like we have the controls for not texting while you're driving, or controls to say, you know what, I'm going into a meeting or I'm at a dinner. You get a do not disturb that requires you to participate in that. But I think that's where we need to go. It'll be interesting to watch the school board lawsuit and the legislation in Florida, but I think we need to go more the route of how we interact with our devices.
Warren, banning is never something that we ever want to talk about or really want to embrace because that just leads to a whole other basket of problems, quite frankly. But TikTok is a perfect example of where the content that the kids are in North America, for example, are seeing is very different than what they're seeing
Hmm.
in other parts of the world.
Hmm.
And those time limits and restrictions that Brian's talking about are very useful. You know, a parent can say you can be on this device for 30 minutes, and then it has to ask permission, but to the parent to extend that time, for example. So there are some controls there. But there's so many ways around it. You don't need to provide photo evidence that you're setting up an Instagram account or a Snapchat account, and by no means, as you know, that rankles the civil libertarian in me that we should start providing photographic evidence to the government or to these platforms to prove who we are and our age and things like that. But I mean, there's no great solution here other than you know, I feel that there's got to be a little bit more parental involvement, frankly.
Yeah, but good luck with that, right? You know,
Nah,
all
yeah,
of us,
that's true. Yeah.
right? You know, when I was punishing my kids, you know, I could threaten to stop feeding them and they'd shrug. But if I said to them, I'm taking this away, they lose their minds, right?
Hmm.
That was the ultimate punishment, that I would take their devices away. And the problem is, you know, as a society, and this is, you know, from DeSantis on the right to New Democrats on the Ottawa, you know, the school board on the left, like there is partisan agreement on the fact that harm has taken place,
Hmm.
and they've harmed our kids. They have. But Hillary Clinton, you know, who, as you guys know, I supported and worked for in the past, she talked about sitting down with Mark Zuckerberg, who is the guy who owns and runs Facebook and Instagram. And she said, sitting down with him, she said, it's intimidating. It's like you're sitting down with the head of a country that has half the world's population, a country that has a bigger budget, a bigger economy than more than half of the world's countries. And she said he's completely unaccountable. We have no means now to rein him in and get him to observe some basic human standards and decency. So that is the problem we've got. You know, good luck to the school boards. I think they're going to need it, because these people, you know, it's basically it's become David versus Goliath, and we're David, and the platforms are Goliath.
Brian, last word to you.
Yeah.
School boards in general have overall taken some pretty goofy approaches and opinions and perspectives, and and their take on things is something we don't necessarily agree with all the time. But I think this is where somewhere there can be a lot of common ground found. Teachers are on the front line of this every single minute of every single day with kids with their devices in the classroom. Maybe one step is to not allow those devices in the classroom during class time. That's one step, perhaps. But again, good luck dealing with that and enforcing that. We're already asking them to do so much. How do you see this playing out?
Well, just to your point there, not allowing devices in the classroom. Uh, you
Some of
know,
them are doing that already.
but well,
Yeah.
I've talked to teachers over the years who have attempted that and then been lectured by parents who say, I need to contact my kid whenever I want. You
Yeah.
have to allow my kid to have the device on and be paying attention to it. That has been the reaction far too often. And so earlier you mentioned, parental involvement. Well, yeah, absolutely. But parents have to buy into this. And if they're not
Yeah.
buying into it and demanding that their kid be on their phone during class, just in case they want to text them about something they're doing after the school day ends, well, good luck with, dealing with the utter distraction of mobile devices. I will say I don't think that this is a panic. Sometimes we have, panics that are driven by people not understanding what's really going on. I believe this is a real and true issue. And as Warren said, good luck to the school boards.
Hmm.
They'll need it. Maybe this starts something. But Zuckerberg is someone who has allowed the worst things on the planet to happen on his platform
Yeah.
and has shrugged about it until he's been forced to be held accountable, like it was in Congress a little while ago. He will not act of his own volition. The school boards may force something, though.
Well, let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you support these school boards going after these social media companies? Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and go to the TorontoSun.com. You're going to find commentary and coverage there you will not find anywhere else.